wisdom as you balance the economic environment with how manufacturers can succeed. What made you come down to the AME conference in a busy schedule? What do you think manufacturers need to know?
Well, I think they need to know how to go from good to great in an economic environment that's going from bad to worse. That's the tricky part. But AME members are leaders in change. They're leaders in lean. And what I want to learn from everybody is how do you focus today on providing those solutions for your customers? Because I think that's key in being able to respond, survive through some pretty trying economic times, coming at it from the point of view of solutions to customers, and then that driving your processes and your improvements throughout your operations and your supply chain. I think that's key. And clearly, as I was saying, nobody has the answers themselves, and everybody's trying to feel their way along. It's uncharted waters for almost every business today. So I think sharing all that best practice is pretty important, especially at this time.
And Dan Jones, a global thought leader on how businesses can go from good to great, had a 5-point action plan today. What was your takeaway from listening to Dan Jones this morning? What was new for you in his speech, or particularly important?
Well, I think, as he was saying, really understand the challenge that you're facing today, understand the gap that you face out there, and then make sure you've got a process improvement plan in place to address that. I think that's just the perseverance is extremely important. One of the things we see a lot are companies that are they take a look at the economic situation. The first instinct is to go in and cut cost. And if you look at how many companies have done this, that they cut cost at the expense of excellence in process improvement and in operations, and particularly when the economic situation goes bad, key indicators of lean or process improvement often turn around after years of improvement. They tend to get worse. And I think what the message here is that if you're just responding to the short-term economic challenges by cutting cost, that at the end of the day you're weakening your organization because you're not taking a longer-term strategic view of it. And I think what Dan was saying was sort of backing that up. You need a process improvement plan that repairs the gaps that you face and connects what you're trying to do within your organization in as efficient a way as you possibly can to those improvements that you need to come out of this at the end with a stronger organization. And the companies that position themselves as solution providers to their customers will come out of the economic downturn. Everybody's going to be, pretty challenging times. Everybody's going to be hit, but the companies that can position these problems as an opportunity to provide service are the ones at the end of the day are going to be coming out as survivors and probably coming out and growing their companies. It's the companies that can't respond fast enough, that see their business as just simply a product, and taking a look at processes within their business and on a business as usual basis and put away lean and say, oh God, we've got to cut costs now. Those are the ones that are going to have a real trouble surviving.
Well, crisis has always been cited as the incentive to change. What are some of the hard lessons you think that companies might see, anticipate, and solve at the AME conference? What are the big hurdles?
Well, I think a part of it is trying to figure out how to mobilize all the people in your organization to change quickly. And that, I think, is it's not easy, and there's no silver bullet, and maybe it's different in a lot of organizations, but I think there's some common elements here. One of it is leadership, which is extremely important, making sure that everybody knows where the goal is. The other thing is, know the goal, know your role, and follow up on the commitments that you have, and so roles and responsibilities, your operating framework. But it also seems to me that lean is all about bringing change from something that can threaten you to part of your business operations. It's sort of making sure that you see your business on a day-to-day basis as changing in order to respond to customers better. That's what lean in my view, what lean should be about. And if that is the case, then lean and change becomes a part of day-to-day business operations, and that can really empower a business by taking it from kind of a passive cost-cutting mode, defensive mode, into a very dynamic type of momentum going forward here, and I think that's pretty important too. And that's, as I was saying, nobody has all the answers to this, so I'm here to learn from everybody else.
We have some of the top executives, some of the youngest, newest minds managing lean process on the shop floor here at AME. Why does CME work with the AME, and what do you think is some of the value that people retrieve?
Well, AME is a great partner of ours, and we've been working with them for at least 10 years. In fact, when we set our vision for CME and our mission supporting manufacturers and exporters to excel and grow in global markets, well, guess who helped us come up with that vision? So we've been working with AME as kind of thought leaders for a long time on this. This is one of the best learning networks that you could ever hope to belong to as a manufacturer, and anybody who's interested in industrial change. So I think that's very important. And the other thing that AME does, I think, is provide the peer-to-peer sharing of best practice, and it's usually not best practice. Usually it's worst practice that things that you want to avoid in doing this. But it's really the learning on a practical basis of what's going on in shop floor. But I think the other thing today is we have to realize the business of manufacturing is a global business here, and one of the lessons that has to come out of today's meeting, especially with the global economic problems that we're facing, is that we're not only practicing lean and on our lean journey under the roof of our own operations, but under the sky. This is a global supply chain, and walking the Gemba means knowing what you're doing within your operations, but even more importantly is knowing what your customers want and knowing what how your capabilities and what your suppliers need. I think that's a very, very important part of taking lean from simply within an enterprise to looking at lean as something that is a business philosophy that extends right through the economy, really, because that's not just the supply chain. But think of what this economy would like if everybody were focused on what really leads to business success, or the success of your customer, to value. That's what got us into this problem in the first place. We've got money floating around, money sloshing in the markets in search of real value, and we've been riding on a bubble thinking that simply piling up higher and higher amounts of debt is creating value. Well, it isn't. It's knowing what customers really value and seeing manufacturing as a key part of producing that value.
Will manufacturers that respond to this be the fundamentals of the economy that keep us actually going through the crisis and away from those complicated financial debt instruments?
Yeah, well, it is. I think the lesson of the boom is that every boom goes bust if you're not creating real value, and that's what manufacturers do. But clearly, you're also, commodity markets today, you produce a product, you produce a service, and it can become quickly commoditized if you're not doing something very special. And that special thing that you have to do is provide that solution for your customer. That's what keeps your customer. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to make you money at the end and that's what creates wealth in the economy. So, any of these financial bubbles that we're seeing, it just seems to me that we're going back to basics, which is all about how do you create wealth, how do you provide a solution to customers, how do you position your business so that you're doing things that your customers want. That's how most businesses work.